Everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's 2025. It's actually sunny and it's not snowing like it was in the last video. The last of the 2024 cars have gone back to the customer, and a very happy customer to say the least. But now it's on to something a little bit different. I always try and test my skill set on some rare cars when I can get my hands on them, and today's no exception. We've got something pretty special and it's definitely rare. I can't find a single panel or part for this car unless it's a part which crosses over to different cars of the brand, but I bet most of you have never seen one, so here it is. This, my friends, is a Toyota Celica Supra. And some of you are probably screaming inside going, "It's Celica!" Well, no, it's not. It's Celica. I've owned a number of Toyota Celicas. It's more comfortable to say Celica, but it is actually a Celica, because I used to work at Toyota at one point, and that is what it's called. This is a 1985 or 86 car. They're ultra rare. There's about 25 or so, and parts for this car is like trying to capture unicorn piss, to say the least. So I've got my work cut out. I always try and test my skill set. A car's a car to me, and I'm pretty good at what I do, and I try to blow my own trumpet, but some things scare people away. This certainly hasn't, and I've been tasked with trying to restore the underbody and some of the panels because you can't get them. So this is where the Celica and the Supra went their separate ways. There's a Celica which looks almost identical, but it's just a Celica, whereas this is a Celica Supra, so it's got the bigger engine, which is a straight 6 2.8 and about 150 horsepower or so. So she was quite a nippy thing back in the day. A friend of mine on the farm used to do rallying, and he says that these things that used to do rallying when he was back in the day with his escorts and stuff used to tear him up, and they were very difficult to catch, so that's a good thing. I haven't seen one for about 20 years, and now I've got one to work on. Winning! The format of this video is going to be slightly different to how we usually go about them. I can't really show you how to restore this car. Well, I can, but is there any real point? Because there's none really about. So I'm going to try and do it more of like a Matt Armstrong or Chris Slicks or whatever type of format, where it's more showing you the process of I'm changing the wheel today, or they're going to powder coat, I'm doing a timing belt, I did some underbody and stuff like that. Try and keep it entertaining. I'm not really a funny guy. Some people think I am, but probably not. I'm quite boring, but I'm going to try something a little bit different just to freshen things up a bit. I don't see the point in me trying to show you nickel and dime how to do every single thing on this car, because a lot of you probably wouldn't have seen one before. So that's the plan. So what we got then? Well, if we go underneath, you can just see that she looks just a little bit tired. From the outset, she looks quite respectable and in pretty damn good shape. Off the road for 14 years, apparently. We got her running yesterday, but she's got some ripe spots underneath, and this is not going to be a show pony, the customer said, but it's got to be nice looking and structurally solid. So we'll try our best. But as you see, exhaust rough, so that might be something that he'll task us to build for him. Get a nice little bit of sound out of her. Give her a bit more of a throaty tone. She runs like a sewing machine, to be fair. She just doesn't start very good, but that may be down to manky old 14-year-old fuel. It did put some V-power in there and fired it up on some easy start, but the aim of the game is to actually fire it up off the key, so no cheating. Sills are not awful on these sections here. She's rotting through there on the outer sill, but all these will be cut off. There's some rot on the inside of this, on both sides, on this lower quarter panel, so we've got to square that away. This has been repaired before, this rear section, rear valance, as they're called. The actual back valance isn't all too bad, but more towards the back, she's a bit ripe. Some cool retro wheels. Problem we do have is these panels are nigh on impossible to get hold of replacements for. So these bump strips, they've seen better days, they've been screwed in. I don't think that was factory fresh, but I might look into getting a set of these fabbed up. I mean, I don't own a press brake here. I used to be a press brake programmer back in the day, so I could make some if I had the machinery, but that's 100 grand I don't need to spend right now. So we're gonna probably pop these off, take it to one of our engineering friends and see if they can draw them up in CAD and see if they can press brake them, because these are actually metal and I don't think they'll be too bad to make on a 3 meter press brake. You probably noticed that the clutch slave cylinder is hanging down. That is because the pedal goes straight to the floor, and when you pump it and try and bleed it, nothing happens. So the customer, when he dropped the car off, he sat inside, tried to pump it. I was underneath the car trying to bleed it, and it was a non-event. The clutch fork wasn't seen to move, but I seem to have freed that up now. So this car doesn't drive at the moment, so that's one of the main things I'm going to try and get out the way. Driving under her own steam, because I need to be able to move this on and off the ramp by myself, because I tend to be a bit of a loner, but it is what it is. Suspension, we're talking about getting some coilovers made, because I don't think there's any off-the-shelf replacements for them. We may change brake lines, we're going to refurb the calipers and all that jazz. Change some bushes and stuff, and just give her a general refresh, because she just looks a bit tired. The car was stored in a barn for 14 years, but the barn floor was a bit damp. So on top, she sort of survived pretty damn well, but the underneath has been seeing hot and cold for a while, and this is what you end up with. So if you're storing a car away for years to come, just make sure the bloody floor's dry and it's on concrete or not grass or anything that can evaporate the damp. So that's pretty much what we got to show you in here. Today I've got the pleasure of working with my dad. This is Alan. So you'll see him cutting about the car. He's come up to give me a hand. So it's a bit of a privilege for him to come up here. He's done all his hard graft. He's recently retired. So I'm thankful for the help. And this is a cool car. And he's probably had one of these back in the day, but he's probably forgot because he's had so many cars in the past. And he's passionate about cars, and that's where I get my passion from. So to have him up here to give me a hand is a lovely experience, to be honest. And hopefully we'll see more of him. Hey, he doesn't talk much. He's a bit mute. He's a bit shy, camera shy. But yeah, we'll crack on anyway. So me and my dad have took the arches off, the inner arch liners, and we're going to try and take this front nose cone off. It's been emotional. Most of the bolts have snapped off, as you can probably imagine, because you've seen how ripe it is underneath. But we'll do a little walk around in a minute and show you the state of the arches underneath the arch covers. Minging. Ugh. So, here we go. As you can see, this isn't too bad. It's a bit rotten out at the top here. Basically, a rot explosion. But all up in here, there's like a brace and it's rotten off. And all the captive nuts were just basically disintegrated. I've got to pull this back out here, but I'm going to cut this out and replace it all. Over to the back section. Rear arch is cabbaged. Yeah, like so. And it's pretty much the same story the other side. It's not as bad on this rear driver's corner, but it's still all rotten out. And it was a bit emotional trying to get all the nuts off and the bolts. Just got to take this little trim off here, and then that's all the rest of that done. I've took these trim panels to Simtech in Telford to see if they can try and replicate them. So hopefully they'll give us some good news when we send the rest of them off there. They're going to laser cut and press brake them, and then maybe we'll get them wet painted. So wish us luck trying to get this nose cone off. It's not been too plain sailing at the moment, but hopefully things will come good. Winning. So that's the nose cone removed, and all I can say about that is it was an ordeal. There's about 5 million 10mm bolts. 90% of them snapped off. There's no place to get up behind them to put some lubrication on them, some penetrating oil. There's loads of hidden clips and loads of hidden little screws and stuff, but for the majority of it, it was relatively straightforward when you figured out one side to get off. But it's off now. My dad's gone. It was a privilege working with him. He's never been up here and given me an hand before, but I'll take that. So thanks to him. Hopefully he's back in the warmth. So we're gonna crack on. The wings are rough. I've noticed we've got to replicate these brackets and make these because these sort of sandwich between the nose cone and the wing. The wings will bolt off on the inside of underneath the bonnet, but there is some spot welds to undo. But they're relatively rotten, so wish me luck.
Welcome to the Celica. Welcome to the Celica.
My God, I hope you don't have to cross paths with one of these Celica Supras to take the front end off, because it's an ordeal. There's about 5 million bolts, as I've said earlier. Taking this metal frame that was holding the side lights, etc. in, I think it was held in by voodoo and hopes and dreams, because it smashed mine. I need to take this garnish off to take the wings off, and I have to take that frame off in here just to get up behind this garnish in general. I think I'm going to call it a day on this one. I hope you enjoyed what you've seen so far, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.